Hello my fellow gamer, it's Griffin here, and welcome back to Chapter 2. In this video we are continuing our Elden Ring guide from character creation screen to defeating the last boss in Elden Ring and Shadow of the Erdtree. For a quickly recap, in the previous chapter we set up important goals that we want to achieve before we'll fight the first Shard Bearer, main boss in the first area. We achieved the first goal, level up to 35 in about 30 minutes. We also got one half of Dectus Medallion, we acquired 2 smithing stones tier 7, and we studied few quest lines at Round Table Hold. Now we are on our way to Fort Height to get the second half of Dectus Medallion. This is a very important item that will allow us to get access to Altus Plateau area. From there we can easily access capital outskirts and eventually the capital, and also to continue our journey towards Mt Gelmir and soon after Volcano Manor. In this chapter we'll get the Great Star's weapon located in a guarded chest on a moving caravan in Altus Plateau area, and we'll reach the first site of grace in Mt Gelmir. Along the way we'll get Wild Strike's Ash of War and Bloodflame Blade incantation. Also we'll discover important sites of grace in Liurnia of the Lakes and Altus Plateau. As mentioned in the previous chapter, for the purpose of this guide, we'll create a strength build with heavy focus on strength, vigor and endurance, and our weapon of choice is Great Stars with Wild Strike's Ash of War, and later on we'll invest 25 points into Faith to be able to cast Golden Vow and Flame Grant Me Strength incantations. Here we are outside Fort Height and we can easily pass these enemies. Once inside we need to be swift but careful, as these foes are throwing fire pots that in contact with these explosive barrels deal significant fire damage. Once we pass this, we'll take the ladder, and the chest we are looking for with the other half of Dectus Medallion will be at the top. As soon as we'll get it, we'll teleport away. From here, now that we have both sides of Dectus Medallion, we want to reach Altus Plateau area as fast as we can. We'll travel back to Gatefront site of grace, and feel free to follow my character on screen. We'll pass these enemies and we'll pick up the golden seed very soon. We can choose to fight these wolves, but they don't give us many runes, so resting at the site of grace will despawn them. From here we'll pick up the stone key and exhaust the dialogue with this NPC. She will help us in our journey by upgrading our summons or spirit ashes.
Only to have, did you know? It's quite a... You've been heading to entice, well, that, but I don't have... It's scary. I want on nothing. Can you take... And and it'll be glad. Oh, tell them I'm trying to get.
From here we travel a short distance to meet Bernard, an NPC we mentioned in a previous chapter. He will sell to us Ashes of War and will follow and complete his quest line in this Elden Ring guide in future chapters. We will purchase from him 3 Ashes of War that will help our build: Stomp, Upward Cut, Endure, and No Skill. Also, a quick note, at this shack, if we rest at the site of grace twice and it is night time, eventually a bell-bearing hunter will spawn, and once defeated, we'll get his bell-bearing that will provide us useful upgrading materials. In future chapters, we'll defeat all bell-bearing hunters, so stay tuned for that. From here, we'll travel back to Stormhill Shack side of Grace, and very soon we'll get Wild Strike's Ash of War. Excellent. Now we'll just past the gate to discover the site of grace, but we will not go inside the castle as it will trigger the fight with the first boss. We don't have to rest at this side of grace, but if you've decided to do so like I did, make sure to defeat the foe that is operating the ballista, otherwise we'll shoot bolts as we try to get away. From here we'll go past these enemies and around the castle. We'll go across this broken bridge, defeat this shiny beetle to get Stormwall Ash of War, and from here, if we'll turn right, we'll just need to follow this narrow path and eventually we'll discover the next site of grace in Liurnia of the Lakes. From here we'll travel a short distance to the Church of Erith, and once we pick up the sacred tier, we'll talk to Thops and exhaust his dialogue.
Believe it or for a... Well, you are a true... My name, presuming only... Apology. I'm afraid... Oh, right. I can
If we'll give him the second Academy Glintstone key, he will give us Erudition Gesture. That can be very useful for a mage or wizard character in obtaining Gavel of Haima and Canon of Haima sorceries, and also a Memory Stone by completing certain puzzles.
And you'll never...
From here we'll take the path down the hill and soon we'll find the next site of grace. In very close proximity there is a merchant that will sell us the lantern for 1800 runes, an item that we will definitely going to get. Once equipped, the lantern will illuminate the area around our character without the need of holding a torch. Also, this merchant sells the Estoc, a fantastic thrusting sword, and we can get 2 of them in the same playthrough. The second one we can purchase from Patches, another NPC we'll encounter soon. The Estoc thrusting sword is a fantastic weapon that attacks very fast, and it is amazing in applying status effects quickly, like bleed, frostbite or poison. Paired with another Estoc or the Anspur rapier that has native Scarlet Rot build-up, can be an extremely powerful combo. If you prefer a very fast playstyle with emphasis on building up status effects fast, then I highly recommend it. Now let's get the first map of Liurnia of the Lakes. This map is guarded by 3 foes. We'll try to lure them away from the map and then we'll rush in to get it. I marked the next 3 locations. It is a very rough estimate on my part about this, as we do not have the next map yet.
Over here. Hello.
This part of the quest for Raya, it is optional, but it is necessary to start the Blackguard Big Bowguard's quest line. A quick side note, if you enjoy this video, feel free to give it a like and don't forget to subscribe. It will help the channel a lot and it would be much appreciated. This gaming community is awesome and I cannot wait to share with you future builds and guides like this. Now coming back to the guide, once we've reached this site of grace, we want to make sure we'll have 2200 runes, 1000 for Raya's necklace, and 1200 for the 2 boiled prawns he sells in order to continue his quest line. Boiled prawns are consumables that once used will boost the physical damage negation of our character by 15% for 1 minute. Later on in a future chapter, he will move to another location and will sell us boiled crabs that once used will boost physical damage negation of our character by 20% for 1 minute. This effect stacks with the physical damage negation offered by Dragon Crest Great Shield Talisman that we'll find in a later chapter.
I'm not in love with... You're a shrewd one. First. Alright, things know you're bloody... Oh, pig. Oh. Alright then, I could be... Oh, alright, well, but it ain't my... Anyway, lucky she ain't... You're tarnished too, ain't you? Can you see it then? I can't see it. Makes no blood, cruel bloody joke. Maybe something the Erdtree. Never met someone with a taste for prawn I couldn't trust. We'd make good mates, I reckon. I'll be seeing you.
From here, I mark the next location. We'll get the second map of the area and discover the next site of grace. From here, we'll need to travel a short distance and meet with the Altus and continue his quest line as well.
It's me, Dialos. Answer me.
Hello, whereabout? They laid hand. The tail eye, dear. The tail eye, Diallo.
Now, we'll travel back to Boiled Prawn Shack and I mark the location for the next site of grace we will discover. The next marked location is a loose estimate where the shiny scarab that will give us Bloodflame Blade incantation should be located. Excellent! Now from here, if we'll travel northwest and then slightly north, we will discover the next site of grace. For the next marked location, we'll need to move fast to pick up the Academy Glintstone key, as it is guarded by a dragon. Moving on, now that we picked up that key, we'll go straight for the next site of grace. While we are on our way to discover the next site of grace, let's talk a bit about Bloodflame Blade incantation we just found. Bloodflame Blade incantation grants hemorrhage or blood loss status effect to any weapon it is applied to. Obviously there are weapons in Elden Ring and Shadow of the Erdtree that cannot be imbued or Bloodflame Blade cannot be applied to them. But for the ones that it can be applied to, it would be the most efficient when it is applied to buffable weapon that already has blood loss status effect natively. Like, wait for it, the Great Star's weapon, that's right. The blood loss or hemorrhage status effect will proc once certain value has been reached after being applied with successive hits, and this is where Wild Strike's Ash of War comes into play. Besides that, the damage type is Strike, which is effective against most enemies in Elden Ring and Shadow of the Erdtree, especially against the ones that have significant armor. Although its poise damage has been reduced in patch 1.08, it is still efficient in dealing poise damage and breaking enemy stands. Now let's talk about the build's weakness. During the attack animation, our character is exposed to damage, therefore we'll need to invest in a very good defensive layers and have a lot of poise to be able to survive and not having our attack interrupted by enemies' attack. Investing into vigor and endurance will be a great idea for a good amount of life, stamina and equip load to be able to wear heavy armor, to wield great stars and later on a great shield and still be in medium load. This is a walking mausoleum. It helps us duplicate remembrances of bosses we've defeated. There are two variances, with or without a bell. The ones with the bell can duplicate any remembrances. The ones without a bell, a lesser version, can only duplicate remembrances of bosses without great runes. Raya Lucaria Crystal Tunnel is a very important location. For the moment, we'll just discover the site of grace. We'll return here in the next chapter. The cool thing about Raya Lucaria Crystal Tunnel is that after we'll defeat the boss of the tunnel, we'll get Smithing Stone Miner's Bell Bearing 1, and after we'll offer it to Twin Maiden Husks at the Round Table Hold, we'll be able to purchase as many Smithing Stones Tier 1 and 2 we want, if we have the runes. We can see from here the Spirit Spring, and once we'll make the jump, we'll arrive to the next site of grace. Considering we have the Academy Glintstone key, we can pass through this magical barrier and discover the next site of grace on the other side. This site of grace will give us easy access to Raya Lucaria Academy that we'll cover in a future chapter. Once we've picked up the Golden Seed, we'll travel back to Balum Highway site of grace. We'll stop first at Balum Church to discover the site of grace and to pick up the sacred tear. From this site of grace we'll go straight for Grand Lift of Dectus. We'll discover the Site of Grace first, and then we'll activate the lift using the 2 sides of Dectus Medallion we discovered earlier. On our right, there is a region we can find the amazing Frenzied Burst incantation that has a fantastic range. Also, if we'll defeat Festering Fingerprint Vike, we'll get Vike's War Spear, and that is an excellent weapon for dexterity and faith builds. From here, we'll travel to Altus Plateau area. Now we go straight forward, passing by a few enemies, and soon after we'll discover the next Site of Grace. From here we'll travel north to get one of the maps of Altus Plateau, and we'll pick up the golden seed along the way. We continue riding northeast and following the path, and eventually we'll arrive at the next Site of Grace, and it is located next to a gateway. This gateway is fantastically placed. Will teleport us across this massive broken bridge, and will be one step closer to the Great Star's weapon location. Now we'll travel south on this broken bridge, and we'll stop right after this pillar on the right. From here we can see the caravan that guards the Great Star's weapon being not too far away, and there is a spirit spring conveniently placed right below us. Let's go! Excellent! But before we go towards the caravan, there is a Site of Grace we should discover first. Now, let's get the Great Star's weapon. We can only open the chest if the caravan stops moving. To achieve that, we just need to hit once one of the big trolls pulling the cart. We need to look for a window of opportunity and to be fast as it is heavily guarded. And done! Fantastic! If you missed this first time, don't worry, you can go back on torrent, lure the big foes away, and then run back to open the chest. Now from here, we'll ride forward to discover the first Site of Grace in Mt Gelmir, and that's right across the bridge. In the next chapter, we'll focus on upgrading Great Stars to plus 15. I know our goal is to upgrade it to plus 19, but one step at a time. And this concludes our second chapter in our massive project, a step-by-step guide from character creation screen to defeating the last boss in Elden Ring and Shadow of the Erdtree. If you have any questions or suggestions regarding this guide, feel free to leave your thoughts in the comment section below. If you enjoyed it, feel free to give this video a like and don't forget to subscribe. It will help the channel a lot and it would be much appreciated. I hope you'll return for future videos as well. Thank you so much for watching. All the best. Bye.